Hey, what's up, y'all? It is not a new episode. It is a bonus episode. We are in holiday mode, but we still had to do it, y'all. It is the Sports Talk and Leftovers bonus number 1. Yes, because I know y'all watching sports, and I do too. I'm watching sports, and we tape on Sundays, so the Falcons play. So we gonna get into that, but you never know the mood you're gonna get, and it's just one of the moods today. So we're gonna get into it. I don't want to get started. I don't want to get started on that note because Vi, see you nodding your head. Vi's here, y'all. Y'all give it up for the country commentator. Vi's in the building.
Hey.
Bye. Bye. I know. I mean, we'll get into it, but you got one word to describe it. Is there one word?
Falcons.
That's the word. Enough said.
As you do.
Hey man, did you have a good holiday? I heard you got some pigtails. Country
I
commentator.
sure did, brother.
How were they, man?
It was great eating. But I didn't get the chitlins.
Oh no. Well, you still got can the pigtails make up for a little bit of the chitlins?
No, nothing make up for chitlins. Nothing.
Well, we give it up for the young lady who cooked the pigtails at least, Vi. Come on.
That's right. Oh, the chitlins.
Shout out to Gloria. Shout out to Glow.
My mother's son can get the chitlins next weekend. So hey, they coming. Hey.
Shout out to Glow though for the pigtails.
Yeah, Gloria for the pigtails.
Thank you, Glow. All right, y'all, and also on the podcast, the special edition of This Is the G Podcast, Sports Talk and Leftovers, is my other brother. He is came up from Florida, went over to Mobile. Got to shout him out. We call him the Hitman, Howard. Howard, what's up, man? Let me give you your applause, bro.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks for the invitation.
And you Howie's on the road. Are you still on the road?
Yeah, so we're just hitting 85 north right now, coming out of Mobile through Montgomery. So my youngest is doing the driving. The boss is in the back seat doing her thing. So we're just doing it, man. I appreciate the invitation. I really do.
So how you gonna talk with your youngest driving?
Yeah, well, he does a good job. Most times he does a good job.
You're not like me, like whoa, hey.
Yeah, well, early on,
I got you. Give it up for the youngest one too. Thank you, Howie. And he's the one and only East Point's greatest. My brother from Briarwood High School back in the day. I got to give it up to the one and only Coach Art's in the building. Coach Art.
All right, always good to be with you, Tommy B.
Appreciate you, man. I couldn't do a sports show without inviting Coach Art, man. Because Coach Art just want to get on here and talk boxing to the end, but we'll give you, Coach Art, I'm gonna give you a little bit of time to catch people up on boxing toward the end. How about that?
All right, sounds good to me.
That's cool. So shout out to Vi, Coach Art, Hitman Howie. Again, we've got our Atlanta, the Georgia local sports connected with wherever you are. We know a lot of folks who listen to the podcast. We're all over. But a lot of this really affects everybody, like Georgia, UGA beating Georgia Tech. And it was a sloppy game. I'm going to get into it, but it was a sloppy game. Hey, whatever. It's a sloppy, The Falcons lose to Washington 13-19. The Hawks are on a roller coaster. We're going to talk a little bit about them. And currently, I think they were just up slightly over Miami as we tape. They're playing Miami here in Atlanta. And but we're going to talk NCAA, NFL, NBA hoops. And again, G Podcast returns next week. My girl Tanya B is on vacay. So we decided to go ahead and give you a little bit of sports. Here's the deal. Let's kick it off like this. We want to talk NCAA playoffs. And Vi, I'm gonna bring you in, and anybody, y'all just kind of jump in. But Vi, how do you think, based on what you're seeing, things are shaping up, man?
If USC went on out and TCU went on out, that's going to be Georgia, Michigan, TC, and USC.
Okay.
If those two teams went on out, they in. You can't
repeat them one more time. Repeat them one more time.
It's going to be USC, TCU, Michigan, and UGA. If those three teams went on out. but they got to win on out though, because they want Ohio State or Alabama in some kind of way.
Yeah, so
Either
everybody's predicting
if either
Michigan.
TCU lose or USC lose, one of them guys gonna get in there. It's probably gonna be Ohio State since they only got one loss.
Does Purdue have a chance next week?
No, even if they beat Michigan, they still ain't getting in.
Okay, yeah.
Well,
They're not
no, they're
getting
not
in.
going to get in, but they do have a fighting chance in the game.
Oh yeah, Michigan
they
ain't
do.
all that. They got a fighting chance against Michigan. Michigan's not a world beater. They're good. They're not a world beater. So, yeah, Purdue definitely got a
They
chance.
were really up for that game against Ohio State. I mean, I watched it, and I was kind of shocked. But you can't come out flat.
Yeah, I was
You know,
shocked
that's
too.
that Tommy B's upset with Georgia for coming out flat against Tech.
Man, it's
You can't
Tech.
do that.
Yeah. But you know,
Tech look like they're in it.
Howie, what do you think? I don't know if you had a chance to see the Michigan game. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think Michigan is a better team than Ohio State. I don't know if Ohio State came out flat. Michigan is, I think they're better coached when it comes to position coaches, and I think just overall they're prepared. That's what I saw in the game where Michigan was able to see it before it happened. That's how they were able to pull that game out. Michigan is a well-coached team, and I think it just took Harbaugh a few years to get the right personnel, and then for that right personnel to get the right understanding of what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
They are a well-coached machine.
Yeah,
I tell you.
I agree. And watching the game, I watched the first half. I had to go run an errand and do some things, and I was listening to the game, and I'm here to tell you, man, that second half was just shocking. I mean, you could, the first half, you could hear the crowd, Ohio State's crowd into it, man, dead silence. They shut the crowd down. I mean, I think it was such a shock. I mean, not only like if you're watching it at home, but you could see the crowd. I mean, it was just shocking. But and I'm gonna say this, and y'all jump in. I'd like your thoughts. When Georgia played Michigan, of course, it was a different Georgia team. Well, let me say, when Georgia played Michigan, it was a different Georgia team because, all the seniors who graduated were there. It was the defense then was not what the defense is now. Georgia's a younger team. And that's my concern about Georgia because Michigan is showing growth and they're showing some maturity now. Whereas and I know you're gonna before you jump in, Val, and defend UGA, but I'm gonna say this: Georgia concerns me. I know they lost a lot of seniors. That's one, which is understandable, but I'm not seeing the urgency at the beginning of the game, and they're gonna mess around and play the wrong team and have to come from behind. Now that's been okay. You shaking your head? Why you say that? Go ahead.
Because the thing with their focus. Now they wasn't for Georgia Tech because what? It was Georgia Tech. Now the teams they were focused for, they had no chance. They was focused for the first game, Oregon. Everybody thought Oregon better. They were focused for the Tennessee game. Georgia ain't finna take nobody that's light no more because they're on a mission now. They didn't take Tennessee serious. They didn't take Missouri serious, and they paid for it. But the rest of the way, they're not going to take any of these teams. They can put these teams on a pedestal. They're going to be focused. You're going to see the Georgia you saw against Tennessee and Oregon. That's why I said I'm not even worried about it.
Anybody see a problem with that?
Well, I mean, I think you're looking in the wrong direction because, and I'll say it, Georgia's problem, is the quarterback. I mean, because what happens is those defensive linemen and linebackers, mind you, Georgia lost their number one pass rusher and linebacker, and they replaced him with this kid Beal, and he's doing that thing. So the secondary seems to get better as the season goes along. Like I said, it's just offensive focus.
Yeah, I agree. I got an issue with Stetson too. What about you, Howard? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I think the difference for Georgia is just their offensive line. I think they got a couple new guys that they replaced. You just think they had the year prior to this, they had a kid go number 1, 2, or 3, but probably number 3. Then he played right tackle. Then last year They had a right tackle who went. He went in the third round, but nonetheless he went. And they just replacing those guys. And I think that's where their, if you want to call it a hiccup, their hiccup is. I think Stetson is all right. Stetson, he's going to do what he has to do. He may not wow you, but he's going to play all right. I think Stetson's good. That defense is okay. And giving Kirby like you do, if you give it Nick Saban 2 weeks to prepare, they're gonna be ready to go. They're gonna be ready to blow you out the water. And if it comes to Michigan again, while Michigan is seemingly prepared, athleticism is just there's a big gap from Michigan to Georgia, and Georgia's on the upper hand of that. So I think we'll be fine, Georgia.
Yeah, and I would say that too. But I'll tell you, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say this, and y'all disagree, but we'll see it when the game is played. I just don't think Michigan is going to get manhandled the way they were manhandled before when they played Georgia. I think it's going to be a closer game. I do. I'm sensing that. I feel that. I mean, because and a lot of that just has to do when Georgia had, and we're talking about last year, Georgia played defense on a pro level almost compared to their competition. I mean, up until the end of the season, okay? What we're seeing now, teams are playing them to some extent. Some teams who shouldn't be playing close are close, okay? I get the Tech thing, but there was a 35-plus point spread on the Tech game. And I'm not saying they play to the bookies and the spreads, but the expectation is higher than for them to go into halftime down by a field goal.
Well, here's a question when it comes to defense. Do you think the defensive coordinator make that big of a difference? Because remember, Georgia lost their defensive coordinator to Oregon from last year. Do you think that's the big difference? I don't know.
No, I think it's more maturity.
They brought in a good guy. They
Yeah.
brought in a good. I mean, Will Muschamp is not a head coach, but he's a good defensive coordinator. And he's got some young talent all the way across the board, because Georgia lost not only the big defensive linemen and the linebackers, they lost some secondary men too.
Yeah.
So we gotta have secondary.
The slippage that Georgia has is nothing compared to all the players they lost.
Yeah, I agree.
They lost half the secondary. They lost the whole front seven. All three linebackers left, and I think 3 of the defensive linemen left. And they still the number 2 defense in the nation. I mean,
we're playing good football. Let me tell you this.
They average what? Because every time somebody scored these second touchdowns, most of the touchdowns they got on Georgia was on the second defense in the second half when the game is over.
Go ahead, Coach.
They are barely averaging. People are barely averaging 7 points a game against Georgia starting defense.
Everybody in Georgia was concerned about the rankings when they came out last week, because they said, oh my, how are they putting Alabama ahead of 2 loss teams? And I just explained to them that the powers to be from at that time last week, what they wanted was Georgia to play number 4 Alabama, and they wanted Ohio State to play USC. That's a dream pairing. That's what they want. That covers the whole nation. And, and it looks like, I didn't think USC was as potent as it is. And those guys really look good last night. They're going to be reckoned with, because they're more than likely going to play your Michigan. If Michigan can beat Purdue, Georgia, we're not going to look past LSU. But we got to play. We got to play too.
Well, let me stick there for a minute, just on the USC tip. USC's quarterback. A lot of folks are saying, and we're taping the day after their win. A lot of folks are saying that he pretty much sealed the Heisman.
He did. He sealed the Heisman because Stout screwed up against Michigan. That was their Heisman game. They was running almost like neck to neck. Actually, Stout had a little bit of a lead.
CJ Stroud. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he messed up.
I'm going to say no, and I'm going to wait for you guys to finish, and you can ask me why.
Okay, well, I'm just saying Stroud the last couple of games has been borderline. and this recent game against Michigan was probably on the scale, on the level of importance,
And he
pretty much
balled.
killed it for him. He blew it. You
And
know,
you got to, in the last two games USC had, put up outwardly numbers.
Okay, I didn't even have who I had was Bryce Young, because what circumstances give you eye candy. Alabama's struggling. They've been pulled down to the wire. They've been in double overtimes. They've been fighting for their life. And the reason why they're fighting and the reason why they're able to stay in the fight is because of Bryce Young. Now, he's a very slight-framed individual, but I see composure, I see maturity and growth, and I just see that will to win. You know, how can a college quarterback in Alabama be able to basically sling the tater? And we have a professional quarterback in Atlanta, and he's
where you got to go there, man. Come on.
Well,
you got to go there. Yeah,
man, you watch, that's some good football. Bryce Young lost 2 games in overtime.
Yeah,
and that is why he's not going to win the Heisman.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. I mean, if you look at how he played, and if you look at the body of work,
I don't doubt that. It just that, but they don't talk. I don't doubt that. But they don't talk about Bryce no more.
You have to understand that he's got a very, very potent and powerful man. As much as I don't like to talk about Nick Saban, because Nick Saban got that positioning with a phone call.
But I get, but they don't talk about Bryce anymore. And then, like the guy said, the Heisman, they're not trying to let them out Heisman no more.
Yeah, I agree.
They get that second Heisman. He had to have better stats than he had the year before.
Well, what I'm saying is that it has to be close. I don't want to rule him out because of the losses. But like I said, I watched Williams 2 last night, and that guy is on a mission.
Okay.
He's on a mission. And but hey, I think Michigan and Michigan USC will be a great game.
Okay.
And whoever they drag in for us will be great. Will be great too.
I want to pull Howie in. Howie, what are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, Caleb. I think Caleb is definitely the Heisman Trophy winner. I think just having a primetime slot last night and only losing 1 game. But if I had a vote, I'm not sure I would vote for him. I still like CJ out of Ohio, and I still like Bryce out of Alabama. I think those guys are good quarterbacks on good teams, and they make a difference. Now, Caleb made a difference last night. Probably haven't seen enough. Who I would like to see, I think it's going to be Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and USC if everybody wins out. USC has to win the Pac-12, and I think they're going to have the toughest road to go.
Somebody's going to get treated hard. Somebody's going to get really because USC. Well, if USC beats and they're playing Utah or something they're playing somebody for the Pac-10.
Right? Is it Utah? It was going to be either Utah or Oregon.
Well, who won last night? Did Washington? They said if Washington won.
Washington won. Washington beat Washington State. You know, that did be good to see that quarterback that Washington had. That was the guy that was at Indiana, Penix.
Okay.
Right.
Penix, yeah. He was playing, he warmed up, he's played well.
Yeah. It was supposed to be Oregon, but Oregon got upset last night, so they out of it. So I don't know. I think they're talking about Utah State. I think the guy writes going to be Utah State. I think they saying.
They got touched. Yeah. They got Oregon got touched.
Hey, real quick, and we want to wrap up the NCAA. LSU gets upset by Texas A&M.
Yeah, did that quarterback get hurt? I heard they saying that quarterback might have got hurt. They started quarterback.
I didn't hear.
Who you talking about? The LSU's?
Well, LSU.
That's a big part of the team. But I hope that's a big part of the team.
Right.
But what happens is Texas A&M has been underachieving.
Yeah.
They were supposed to be, they had preseason number 1.
Yeah.
Correct. They was in the
And they
top
just
5.
underachieved. Well, they got beat by Arkansas the first game of the year, and their confidence was shook, and they just never, so. But I didn't know that the young man from Arizona State who went to LSU to play quarterback. I didn't know he got hurt, but I know that he played for Herm Edwards for 3
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, I'm
He's a
not
very
sure, but I
quality-
think
he's
because
a
I saw somebody,
quality guy.
I'm not sure that happened. But I thought I saw that on the internet. They asked was the quarterback all right for LSU.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool on the NCAA. We'll see what happens with that. I think you guys are pretty solid when it comes down to the Final Four, and we'll just see how it goes from there. Let's talk some NFL. If we must, the Falcons and the Commanders today. Let's just start there. I'm gonna start with Coach Art. I'm gonna start with you, man. What's the big takeaway for you?
Well, I mean, it's another crushing loss at the end, but I would have to say that the Falcons played admirably against a real rugged and tough team. Defense was more robust than I thought. The offense had to really grind. Because Cordell Patterson was a beautiful thing. He did his job. Zacchaeus is coming out. He did drop a pass, but they're putting a lot of stuff on his shoulders. I just like I say, I was surprised that we were in the game to the end.
Okay.
So
Any thoughts? Any thoughts from you, Howard? How are you feeling?
Well, I'm a fan. I'm a fan, so I wanted them to win more. I thought they could have won more, did a little bit better. But at the end of the day, we got to get us a quarterback, man. That's the most important position on the field. We got to find someone who can toss the ball, man. And Mariota is just lacking. It's just lacking.
He had so many bad throws for the games that did catch. Either too high, too low. Agree, dude.
Yeah.
I think he has a chance to run with the ball.
Well, let me say, can I mention this? And I'd like some feedback from y'all. These are the things that puzzled me. Okay. First of all, the run game is what was working. And when they got on the last drive, when you're within 5 yards, 1st and goal, and you pass, when basically you haven't had much success passing. The other thing is, what's the running back from College Park? What's his name? Huntley. Got one. I think he got 1 carry for 12 yards.
That's that fumble. That fumble Huntley had what is that, 2 games ago?
Yeah, but still, this game he didn't fumble. I mean, one carry, 12 yards. I get it. Maybe the previous games might be holding him back. But when you saw Cordell Patterson, he couldn't get around the edge. Your other running back is basically a sledgehammer, but he's still not getting through the middle. I didn't understand why they didn't change it up and maybe bring in Huntley and just do something different.
Well, I mean, to change it up,
not go to
bring in the quarterback.
They should
had to bring in the new quarterback and try to buy a little time and shoot that thing, down the lane. But
yeah, I don't think it needed to be a pass. I think they could have continued to run and scored. They were there. They were within 3 yards until they got the penalties. And my concern is 2 things. And you all agree with me. We're all saying the same thing. Mariota is just not the guy. He's a good guy, but he's not the guy for this team ultimately. And I know that Smith has some loyalty and allegiance to him, but until they make a decision, in my opinion, and you and I have talked about this and looked at possibly giving Ritter of some snaps either in the second half of one game to really find out what he's all about. I think keeping Mariota in 100% is hurting us for next year, unless they plan on spending a whole lot of money after the Ryan cap goes away on a quarterback.
Well, well, having coach quarterbacks, what I think they should do is go ahead and name him the starter and give him a week of prep to fit to what he does and how he likes to do it. And,
you mean
just,
give
you
who
know,
give who a week? Give who?
give the new guy
Ritter?
give Ritter, you know, let him start Monday with, you know, film session and everything, and go ahead and game plan with him and give him a fair chance. See, this is one of the things. How they do a quarterback is everybody knows about telltale signs of what you're going to run or how you're going to do it. So if you hamstring a running quarterback, you know, with the play action runs and instead of just letting them drop back and when it's not there, take off, you know, that's the problem. You know, that's the issue. That's how they really, you know, everybody in the stadium knows this guy's going to run, you know.
And I will say this, I will say to Mariota's defense today, there were some drop passes, some passes that should have been caught.
Guys out there hitting, man.
Yeah, but the passes, you know, and I don't get into the whole weather thing because, you know, both teams have to contend with weather. But ultimately there were some drop passes that in some critical situations that should have been caught. Howie, I'm going to you. What thoughts on what we're talking about, Ritter? I mean, Ritter.
Well, this league is too good to have a one-dimensional quarterback. This league is just way too good. Even if you are if you can only pass, you know, those guys are limited. You need some guys who can extend plays and who can pass the ball and have a little bit of movement to extend plays. And that being said, if once we're out, and I think we're going to get there either this week or next week, once we're out of the playoffs, I hand the whole thing over to Ritter because we're not going to be in a position to draft one of our top 3 or 4 quarterbacks that's coming into the draft. We've already, you know, wrote the check on Ritter by drafting him last year. Mm-hmm. So we got to make sure he's ready. So at this point, we're preparing him not so much for this year, but for next year to see where he stands. And that 3 or 4 games this season to finish out, maybe 7 more games this season. I think since there's 17 games league. Yeah. So about 7 more games this season, get him prepared to see where he is. And that can help us determine how we draft coming into the draft. I think we need Will Anderson or Will Anderson type, but you know, later rounds, there may be a receiver that's available for us. So he can have someone who can toss it to him. So yeah, we have to get him in there to see where he stands.
Yeah, you know? I agree. And the other thing, you know, when we look at, you know, our situation right now, you mentioned the fact that we're pretty much out of contention for Bryce Young and CJ at this point. Are those guys? I mean,
well, if Williams is still around, and you can bring Williams here anytime.
Who's this?
The guy from USC. He's a senior.
But unmute yourself.
Yeah, I think Caleb has one more season to play. I think he has one more season to play out in USC.
He does.
Okay.
What about the guy from Kentucky? They say he's like the Buffalo.
Josh.
Josh Allen.
Like Josh Allen.
They say the boy Kentucky like Josh Allen. He built just like him.
No, I don't even want to see that.
It's a different league, though. You just can't. And see, that's my thing about Ritter. And I know it was preseason, but honestly, Ritter impressed me preseason.
He did. He looked like he was
impressive.
Playing the game.
I mean, he made a couple of mistakes, and as soon as he made the corrections immediately, and he came back in, and I mean, he did what he needed to do. So I mean, I was impressed by him, and I was expecting him to see more. I mean, you know, I'm not appreciative of what Mariota has done. It definitely has. He stepped in the gap, but again, you know, you mentioned the one-dimensional thing. You know, we can't keep saying to him, "Don't throw the ball." You know, we have to have a quarterback with the ability to throw accurately, and the ability to win games with his arm. I think it's safe to say we'll all agree that Mariota can't win the game with his arm. Don't
depend on him to win the game for it.
No, he's not going to win the game with his arm. That's why I say he's not the guy. You know. Quick. Let me go around the league real quick. Just want to get your thoughts. You got the NFC South, which is horrible. The Bucks lost today to Cleveland. You got Carolina won over the Broncos. What's up with Russell Wilson, y'all? What is
a lot of folks blame on the coaching. They said the coaching sucks.
But Russell Wilson,
I think Russell has tapped out, man, because of the coaching. I think he's tapped out because of the coaching.
But wasn't that the issue in Seattle? Wasn't that his issue in Seattle?
Well, he won't throw the ball in Seattle. Seattle was a run dominant team, and Russell.
That's a coaching issue.
The coaching suck it wasn't that. It wasn't. Seattle had a bad coach, but
Pete Carroll.
Broncos got a bad. That guy can't coach. He sucks.
Yeah, but okay.
No.
I think the Seattle thing, if Russell didn't want to necessarily go through another rebuild. So, the Legion of Boom was all gone on. Running back was gone, so they had to get some pieces. So he was hoping to move in Denver because Denver was just maybe a quarterback away from being competitive. Exactly. I was same thing in Indianapolis. Well,
quarterback and a coach.
Yeah, they got a new coach.
And that's the thing. They made a coach. And the coach run the team.
Yeah.
And it's Indianapolis. They kept picking them bad quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So man, getting Wentz, that was like, I don't understand that move because it's a costly move too. To get Carson Wentz to come and lay an egg.
And lay an egg. And then got rid of him as soon as he laid an egg.
Yeah. Well, NFC South is horrible. Let's just all agree that the NFC South is horrible. I mean, I don't think there's been.
I believe the NFC period is horrible except for the Cowboys, the Eagles, and Minnesota.
You got NFC West. 49ers don't look.
The 49ers are coming on.
And the Seahawks are marginal. I think they've done okay with Geno.
Yeah.
Then you got the NFC North.
The Vikings. Geno.
Huh? What's that?
Geno's done good this year.
Yeah, I agree. And
He's
Vikings.
Our quarterback, right?
So true. Vikings are pretty much running away with the North. The Packers, are done. The Bears done. Lions, not even a chance. NFC East is probably the strongest division probably in the country. You got the Eagles. You got the Cowboys, the Giants. Yeah, it used to be. And now, Washington wins a game. So they're over 500. AFC West, pretty much just the Chiefs and the Chargers, and the Raiders and Broncos are horrible. AFC South, you've got Titans and the Colts. Colts aren't going to do anything. The Jags and the Texans, we talked about the fact the Jags and the Texans are pretty much going to be drafted. They're going after draft picks. At least the Texans.
The Jags won today.
Yeah, not the Jags, but the Texans.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. The Jaguars did win today.
Yeah,
they won today.
AFC North, you got the Ravens, Lamar, the Bengals. Bengals are doing pretty well.
Yeah, they tied for first now. The Ravens and Bengals tied for first now.
And the Browns and Steelers are in the rear, pretty much done. AFC East, Bills are still hanging in there with Josh Allen. Josh having a better game.
Surprisingly, Miami's number one.
Yeah, Miami is looking good, looking great. They won today big as well. Jets and Patriots, Jets having quarterback issues.
I don't know. Mike White might be the answer.
Yeah. Did they win today?
They won, and he threw for 303 touchdowns.
What?
Oh, yeah, the Jets won. Yeah, they rolled. They rolled. Man, they put some offensive numbers up.
I can't trash the New York team.
No, they benched Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
And man, they're doing it.
All right, so I can't trash New York anymore. Nope. The Giants are decent and the Jets are decent.
And the Jets are decent.
So damn, I gotta be nice to New York. Okay, there you go.
I would like to say a rumor I heard.
Oh, go ahead.
I heard that at the end of the season, Lamar Jackson to Atlanta.
What?
Yeah. Lamar, don't do that to yourself.
I know it don't.
Don't do that to yourself.
We've got a nice running game. All we need is, like that man said, Will Anderson.
Yeah.
And a defensive line, I mean, we
And he needs some
literally
more. And he
picking
needs some more
quality
receivers.
defensive ends.
He needs some more receivers.
Well, we got 2 that are hurt now.
Yeah. Yeah.
London and that kid needs somebody with an arm. Number 8.
Mm-hmm.
That kid needs somebody he's a deep seam crosser.
London need to get him because he stayed hurt, it seemed like.
Well, that was his issue. And that's why I was worried about the draft because, he was hurt. He had ankle issues out at USC. And he's a slim built guy.
He's a basketball player playing football.
Yeah. Hey, Howie, jump
Yes,
jump in on this. Your thoughts on your thoughts on what we're talking about. Go ahead.
Yeah, I heard Lamar tell Atlanta won't happen. They got 2 years to tag him, so they'll tag him this year, and either he plays or he sits out. Then they got another year to tag him. He plays or he sits out. So I don't think they're going to give up on him. They kind of centered their
He's their whole team
around him. Yeah, he's centered their team around him. And
Why don't they just pay him then?
Yeah.
Well, because it's a business too, man.
It ain't a business. The owners got this thing. They not $300 guaranteed $1 million. They mad at Cleveland for doing that to Deshaun.
Yeah. Exactly. They can hold out as long as can. I agree with you 100%, Coach.
Because they gave him plenty of money. He just said, "No, I want that guaranteed." He want the same thing Deshaun got. This not we ain't doing that.
And then my boy in Cleveland kind of just disturbed the whole pay system when he got all those millions guaranteed.
Yeah.
So but it's funny that they're holding out on him, but he's gonna get it. He's gonna get his money, and he's gonna make a lot of money, and he'll be all right. That's how I see it. I definitely see it that way. What else we talk about? The as far as the Falcons are concerned, in our division,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. It don't even matter who wins because the first round they're gonna be out. Well, Tampa Bay make a stride in it.
That's what I was telling Vi. I mean, why make it to the playoffs and you're gonna be out in the first round? I mean,
I said that since day one. For the season started, I said that.
Yeah. As much as I would like to see him go,
No.
Like I said, I'm the fanatic. I'm the fan and fanatic. But man, it'd be so much better if we can get a good draft choice and start preparing for the future.
Yeah,
All that money.
I was rooting for the 2-win season.
All right, fine. Stop. Go ahead, Howie. You know how Vi is with the Falcons.
Yeah, it's gonna be a boatload of money available next year. So while we're talking about the draft, we also should be considering free agency because it's gonna be a boatload of money available.
Vi, stop. Vi, stop.
Exactly.
let Howard express his optimism. Okay. Quit interrupting him as he expresses. Hey, Howie.
Yeah.
Continue to express that optimism. Go ahead. One more time.
The reality is that in this league, really in our league, if you can get one or two of the right people, and that includes a quarterback, you can be competitive, and that's all we really ask for as fans is when we watch each Sunday, go to the ball game each Sunday, that we're in games until the end. And a few will pull out, and we don't want to be blowed out every week. And in halftime, you see the stands empty, as if we're in Texas A&M or something like that. But so when with the money, you can do that in this league, and I think that's the whole deal behind this league is parity. They try to make it as even as possible across the board, because at the end of the day, they want money from anybody who's willing to pay for it. So
and we deserve it.
Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up, and I'm gonna say this. I do think. From a Falcons perspective, I think Arthur Smith has the right ideas and concepts. He's a good choice for head coach. He's still a young coach. He's still learning, and he's making some, in my opinion, some public relations errors in terms of maybe sometimes how he speaks at the press conferences. But he'll learn, and winning solves all ills. So eventually, if he can put together, I mean, he's already pretty much, from Vi and I, they've exceeded expectations. And I tell people who are really, into the game and follow the Falcons that, if you're gonna watch the game today, just understand, don't be hurt. Don't let them hurt. Don't let them take it down. Because Mariota just cannot win with his arm. Period. It's either he does it with his legs or somebody else does it, but he will not win the game with his arm. That's just the nature of what we have. And I'm gonna leave it at that. If anybody, you got one more thing to say, and then we'll go to NBA.
I want to ask the panel if somebody can enlighten me on the GM Terry Fontenot, because who we pick up, I mean, off the waiver wire, who we pick, who we draft, who we pay is gonna, hope. Like I say, it's on him.
Well, let me say, can I say this, Art? Can I say this?
Who knows this guy, and who knows?
I know him coming from New Orleans, okay? And he was involved in the building of the New Orleans Saints when they were competitive, okay? Not now, of course, he's gone. So, and I, you know what? Honestly, I'm glad you mentioned his name, because considering what he had to work with and being under that Ryan cap, he did pretty good. You got to say that what he has put together. They kind of, bubble gum, duct tape, whatever they've done a fairly decent job, because they got 5 wins. I mean, who knew that the Rams would only have 3 wins this year? You know what I'm saying? When you look at the Falcons at 5 wins, there's some the Broncos, 3 games? 3 games. So, fairly decent at 5. Just some disappointment, because when you lose these close games, when there's just some obvious things that even the fans see. But I think Fontenot, man, I'll be honest with you, has not been a disappointment. He's much better than what's his name, Dimitrov. I would keep Fontenot over Dimitrov any day. So as long as it ain't Dimitrov, I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, we're gonna see what he can do without money.
That's what I'm saying. So he's about to have a ton of money, because they're about to come out of that. They're about to come from under the. Y'all may not. If the audience, you may not know, the Falcons are basically still paying Matt Ryan. They're under that huge contract, and this is the final year. Am I correct in saying that?
This is the final year.
So next year they will have plentiful in the war chest. Plenty in the war chest.
Get us some free
Will Anderson. We need a real stud.
But
Will Anderson.
I think the organization's in good hands with Fontenot. It's just really going to come down to Arthur Smith and whether he wants to be conservative. And I just know. We'll see. All right, y'all, let's wrap up the NFL. Let's talk NBA. This is my thing. Hawks and Heat, I'm not sure where they are at this point, but when they started at 5:00. Hey, check the score, somebody. Check to see Uvi, because you're the only one. These guys are on the phone. But at the beginning of our taping, it had been an hour, so they were heading into halftime. But let me ask John Collins with the Hawks right now. John Collins, bunch of trade rumors, lack of production, inconsistency with DeAndre Hunter. You got a situation with inconsistency in points, rebounds. Is Nate McMillan on the hot seat right now? And should the Falcons make a change now? I'm okay. I'll go. I was gonna go to Howard. Howard, you in a situation where you can talk?
Yeah.
Let me go to Howie first. So my question is, you got John Collins, who has had chemistry issues with Trae Young for a while. That's been, it's kind of like the elephant in the room, that there's a chemistry issue with Trae and John. I don't think they've ever really fixed it. You're not getting the other night, you had combined rebounds or combined points between Collins and DeAndre Hunter, somewhere around 15 points combined. Right. And the inconsistency you're seeing with, I think one game within the week, Collins went 0 for 7 from threes. The whole issue with Collins, especially him getting that contract, which he's the second highest paid on the team, was to fix the chemistry issue. It doesn't seem to be fixed to me. So I'm gonna ask you, that's what I'm asking Howard. Do you think Nate's on the hot seat? They paid Collins all this money. And I know
well,
I know that's not his choice. That's Travis. You know, that's his. I mean, the GM, but still, he's the
right.
coach. So I'll throw it to you.
Well, no, I agree. I think we got to get better production out of that position. So if it's going to be John Collins or someone else in the 3 position, I think it's the 3. We have to get more production out of it, and the production has to be consistent. So if there is some chemistry issues, then yeah, absolutely, it goes to the coach. Either the coach say we got to fix this internally, or we got to ship. In this case, it'd be John Collins because Trey not going anywhere. We're gonna have to get something. We're gonna have to ship JC out. No, but JC's a decent player. He just gotta play. I don't know. You know, I don't. We talked about this. I don't like getting in the man's pocket, but maybe he's just trying to get under the understanding of the 125 million.
Oh, come on, man. What the hell?
We talked about, he has to play better. I agree with you. He should be a double guy without a problem.
Yes,
you know?
He should be a double guy. And see, my point is, you know, okay, you know, of course, Trey's he's the highest paid on the team. Okay. Well, he deserves it. He should be. And the other thing I've got, the challenge I have with the Hawks and maybe Atlanta kind of turns on the star players sometimes. And I don't think it's deserved when people like the other game. What was the game just a couple of games ago, which was embarrassing? They lost to they shouldn't have lost.
Raptor. Was it Toronto or
no, it wasn't Toronto. They just
Celtics.
No, just lost it a couple of games ago. Howie, we were talking about you know, they're playing Miami now. Who did they just play and they lost to? They were ahead and they lost.
I'm sure was it Toronto?
No, it wasn't Toronto.
No, it wasn't. It was somebody else. I can't think of their name.
Well, anyway, this is
the
game. Yeah, absolutely. Houston. Okay,
right,
Houston is the worst team in their division. They're at the bottom. Only won 4 or 5 games now. Okay. In that situation, you've got a team that they should beat. Okay. Not a team that they should play close. They should have been beating the hell out of the Rockets. And when you have 83 points between Murray and Trey, 83 points in that game. And then you've got a combined total between Hunter and Collins of 16, where you got AJ Griffin is outscoring pretty much outscoring Collins with fewer minutes. That's a problem. That's the sign of a problem. Now, I will say this. Murray and Trey in the backcourt, man, they're gonna be they're gonna be the Splash Brothers. You know what I'm saying? They are already lighting fires.
They're playing well. I believe they're playing well together. You know, deferring and just. But okay, Tommy B, what happens is Collins should have already been traded. He doesn't bring any defensive intensity, and he's sulking because he's not a 1 or 2 option. You know, against the Sixers last year in the playoffs, he wouldn't even step in and guard Embiid part-time. Now, it's not his fault. It's the organization's fault because they could draft a young 7-footer with athleticism and some heart and make him be a rim protector. We need defense. This team cannot. We look good scoring, but then we give up. They give up points like it ain't nothing. Man.
Well, you got Capella, and this is the other trip. You got Capella who missed the last game, and currently he's missing the Miami game for dental issues. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we've had players in the NBA who have played with a face mask with a broken jaw.
Well, no, he needs help. I like a Kongu.
No, I'm talking about Capella. I'm talking Capella.
Is not an enforcer. Capella. Okay, if you look at his body of work, he does good for what we do: run, lobs, and like I say, he'll stick his nose in there. He's just not he doesn't have any girth. Yeah. We need an agile 7-footer that's willing to play defense and block shots and body up to some of these Leviathans that are in the league.
You don't think they're gonna get Frank Kaminsky? Kaminsky, what the hell?
Well, maybe. Hey, look,
What the hell is Frank Kaminsky doing on the roster? No. But I get it. But let me say this: we say all this, and I've had the conversation. You and I have had this conversation, Howard. I think they need to just go ahead and make a change at coaching. I really do. Before the All-Star break, I think they're gonna have to make a change. I just don't see it because the Hawks cannot lose any more than 30 games a year, 30 to 35. They lost 39 games last year. I mean, which pretty much when they had to get in through the play-in. We need to be able to get in via playoffs, in a decent bracket. And the roller coaster that they're on now, it's like they win. It's every other game, and that's just it. The odds are against them.
My question is always, coaches don't forget how to X and O. So 2 seasons ago, we made a run as deep as we did to the conference championship. The same coaches there, but they're different players. So
let me how we made it. You know how we made it. COVID is how we made it. I think no, seriously. No. I think we had a good team, but you had a lot of teams with players who were out on what do you call it? On the protocol. It was pretty much ravaging the league. And the Hawks pretty much they were vaxxed at 100%. And the Hawks toward the playoffs didn't have the injuries, nor did they have people who were on COVID protocol. They had a lot to do with it. So I'm not saying that was all of it, but I think that played a part in it because when you look at the teams that made it in the playoffs, a lot of those guys were missing games, a lot of the key players. Now, I'm just, Nate is cool. It's just right now you added Murray, you got Trey. I just don't think he's the guy. And with the Collins issue we're having now, I just don't think he's the guy.
We got to change Collins out. Because listen, we got a blessing from God with Griffin.
Yeah, I agree.
That kid is he's a breath of fresh air.
But let me tell you, Art, I'm gonna say it and I'm gonna back off. With this coach, I don't think he's gonna allow him to really bring his talents to fruition. I don't see it under Nate. I don't see it under Nate.
Well, he's a defensive guy. He's not an offensive guy.
Who? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's not a good fit. He's not a good fit for Trey.
Yeah.
Well, they need some defense. We need defense, man. I'm telling you.
Well, that's the strength.
Well, but my point is
that was the whole reason they brought Nate, because we could score. We needed someone to fix the defense.
That's what I'm saying. But he's not doing it though, is he?
Well, he pretty much he's failed.
Yeah, because they give it up, man. They just give it up.
We're losing to we're playing. I mean, we're only, we basically, play to the level of our competition.
But are we drafting defensive players or we just drafting offensive players?
Yeah.
Man, we need a rim protector, man. We need a 7-footer who can move and is young and has got a little chip on his shoulder. Somebody who's willing to mix it up.
Yeah.
Because they're coming. The playoffs are coming and Embiid's coming.
Yeah, I agree.
The big ones, the big boys are coming.
I agree. And they throw Capella around like a rag doll. Frank Kaminsky ain't the answer. Okongwu is still too young. He's still developing. I mean, even though I think a lot of folks don't like him, I mean, you bring, what was his name? Bootsy, trying to think of his name. He was available. Cousins.
Kirk, big Cousins. I know Kirk Cousins.
No, Kirk Cousins, not Kirk.
I mean, not Kirk Cousins.
but Cousins.
Boogie Cousins.
Yeah.
But he's still out there. He wants to play with somebody.
Cousins is an enforcer. You bring somebody like Cousins in who can enforce, and that'll keep that lane closed.
He would do anything to get in the league. So you bring him in there.
The weight he's got, if he's not too big, because he has a potential to get big.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, you're real quick, and we're about to wrap up the show. But I want to.
The Hawks game is 85-84.
See,
Miami's leading.
That's crazy. That is crazy. Y'all know they don't even have Jimmy Butler playing right now. Jimmy Butler's not even playing. The only two key players Miami currently has because of they have so many injuries is Lowry and Hero. Those are the only two. Really, everybody else is a no name. So they basically getting beat by the G League, and they're getting beat by the G League and Lowry and Hero right now at home. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, the coaching situation. I don't know what's going on. I just don't.
Well, I think I like the idea how we can go through the season with him and then hire my boy from New Jersey. He need a team.
Howard.
Oh, you talking about who you talking about?
Yeah, Edoba.
Aduku, yeah.
Aduku, yeah.
What happened to him getting the job in? I thought he was getting the
No.
Brooklyn. What was that?
Not gonna happen.
He's still a hot topic. Still, they said.
Yeah, they gave it to the interim.
You can bring Kyrie for that. If Kyrie hadn't said what he said and got in all the trouble with the Jew, they would have. Can't deal with him and Kyrie at the same time.
Yeah. Well, going around the league real quick because we got to wrap up. Going around the league real quick. NBA leading teams. You got the Celtics, the Bucks, the Cavs, Suns, Nuggets, and Grizzlies. And I'm just gonna say this because I mean we're early on in the season. We're early in the season. Who do you think is gonna win the East?
What about the Lakers?
No, the Lakers at the bottom. And hey, let me say this: Anthony Davis was going over to help LeBron get up and fell down and hurt his groin. So that's how bad things are for the Lakers. Okay. So let me just ask the question, and I'll start with you, Howie. I'll start with you. Who do you think is going to win the East ultimately? Who do you pick to win the East?
Ultimately,
ultimately, who do you think?
I think the Celtics will take the East.
What about you, Coach?
I'm going with the Celtics. They appear to be a very complete team, and I noticed you left off Sacramento, the number 3 team in the West.
Dude, let me say this: they are. Oh, by the way, they're number 5.
Oh,
they lost to the Hawks, and you know what? For all the Sacramento folks, I know we have folks who listen from Sacramento. I'm sorry, that's a pipe dream. Sacramento has not been to the playoffs since the iPhone 1. Okay, so back in 2005, it ain't gonna happen. So I'll just say that. So y'all can go ahead and believe it's cool, but and this is the other thing. They think that Herter is gonna take them to the playoffs. Herter couldn't get us through the playoffs. Okay, he's great during the season, but he underperforms when the heat is on. That's just
and they start playing above the rim.
Yes, when they start when you go to that next level, check his stats. The other person they bogey. You look at their stats in the playoffs, they underperform. So I'm sorry, Sacramento. What's that?
They disappear.
So I gotta say, I'm sorry, Sacramento. Herter will help you in spurts, but he ain't gonna help you in the playoffs. So good luck. Okay, so I agree with the Celtics. Who do you pick for the East?
I agree with the Celtics. I think the Celtics can do it because I don't think Philadelphia guys can stay. They stay hurt too much.
Yeah, so I agree. With Celtics. What about the Bucks? Nobody mentioned the Bucks. Okay. The Hawks have beat the Bucks twice already, which is crazy.
And that's weird, isn't it?
That's weird. That's enough reason not to go for the Bucks.
Yeah, that's weird. Look at the West. Suns, Nuggets, Grizzlies are the top 3 teams right now. But look at the overall. Who do you think is going to win the West?
Golden State.
You think Golden State's going to come back? They're at the bottom or near the bottom. Okay, so you got Golden State. What about you, Coach?
Well, I'm going to go with that Utah.
Okay, you're going to go with Utah? Okay.
Utah? They traded
cool.
their whole team away.
Howie, who you got in the West? I don't even want him to explain.
I think it's gonna be either.
You got to let him explain Utah.
No, hang on. Go ahead,
I
Howie.
think it's gonna be either Phoenix or Golden State. If Golden State can get back to shooting, I think the summer league punch, really kind of got them off to a bad start. But I think if they can kick back around, they'll be in the hunt.
And they get Wiseman playing good ball again. They'll be all right.
I think it's gonna be Phoenix's year.
So you think Little Man gonna finally get him a ring?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's gonna be Phoenix's year.
I would root for them.
They got a good team.
Yeah, the Lakers might surprise you too. They might come back strong.
No, dog. The Lakers.
Yeah. It will be a surprise.
hey, it'll be a surprise to the Lakers.
A write-in. They're a write-in.
All right. Hey, let me go around the horn so we can wrap this up. I'll start with you, Howie. You got any final thoughts? Anything? Final thoughts?
Hey, you guys don't release the Falcons, man. They gonna be all right. I think these are growing pains. I think we got the right coach. I think we got the right GM. Long term, we're gonna if we get the right person at the quarterback position, we'll be okay. Remember Tannehill when he came out of Miami up there with Smith, and they had put him on a trash heap. But with the great running game and some play action pass, they were okay. So we're gonna be all right. We just got to hold our water.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. Vi, you got any final thoughts? Anything?
Growing pains. Man, I'm tired of growing.
Growing down. Growing roots. That's pretty much it.
Well,
all right, what else?
But I will say this though. I want to see Ritter.
Okay.
We need to see Ritter before we find out do we actually have the quarterback on our team. If we don't have the quarterback on our team, we need to do a good scouting because we can get a quarterback in the second round. We're not getting one in the first round this year.
Yeah.
A QB in the second round to get rid of some competition, and we should look to draft a strong defensive rusher in the first round. Because Anderson, we don't want too many games to get Anderson. Anderson a top 5 pick. So
yeah, I agree. All right, Coach Art, final thoughts?
Yes. My final thoughts are on boxing. I have a young man that we've been following, Haven Brady Jr., signed with Top Rank. He just elevated himself from 126 to 130. His last full fight in the Garden, I was a 10-rounder, and he won the fight, and he's now campaigning at 130. I like the landscape, all the exciting lightweights and junior welterweights, Devin Haney, Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson. It's really going to be once they figure out that they need to fight each other and provide some entertainment, it's going to be a beautiful thing. You have the heavyweights coming in play. Deontay Wilder is back with a vengeance. I'm pretty sure people saw that first round knockout against a very good opponent in Helenius, and he'll be fighting John Ruiz in a mandatory for the WBC. Clarissa Shields locked down her status as the GOAT. And, I just have to say and take my hat off to her. She handled herself extremely well. Anytime you have to go over to the opponent's playground, it's a tough haul.
Yeah.
And she carried herself with class. She carried herself with dignity. And she won the fight going hands down.
Good stuff.
So I'm really proud of that. And like I say, we will see what's going on.
Good deal.
We will see.
Good stuff, man. I knew you were gonna get some boxing in there before we wrapped up. Good stuff. Good stuff. I'm gonna say this, and I'm just gonna, again, we're wrapping up. I just want to say this. The Hawks aren't gonna get any better until they make a decision on the coaching right now. I mean, just don't expect them to be a consistent team until the coaching changes. The other thing is, I mean, y'all got to be patient with Trae Young. I mean, my only concern, Atlanta has a history of really beating up the superstars on the Hawks teams. Going back to Pete Maravich back in the day. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when you get stars, you got to understand there's always stuff that comes along with having a star player. But damn, when was the last star player we had truly since we got rid of Dominique? I mean, it wasn't Joe Johnson, so my point is it's good for us to have a player who's a marquee player around the NBA who can attract attention. Don't be so hard on him. He's still a young guy, and he's doing, he's still, honestly, when you look at the amount of games he plays, he misses the fewest games you don't hear him out a lot with injuries. He's that kind of cat. So he's very durable. He's not a big guy, tall, but he's not a big guy. And so don't be hard on Trey, but get rid of that coach. You got it, please.
Did you just say Trey did not have dental issues? Is that
No,
what
no,
I
no.
just heard?
He doesn't. Trey doesn't have injury issues. Injury.
That's amazing. Been a smart.
No, I
coach.
mean compared to a lot of other players, and maybe you look at what was his name in Houston, the Beard. Early in his career, he didn't have a lot of injury issues. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he
don't got
played
old.
consistent.
He's
got older now.
That's all.
But I'm just saying, we need to really appreciate what we have in Trey Young, and the amount of marquee value he brings. He's not perfect. He of course when they go iso ball and they do the I know a lot of folks don't like that, but we're not the Boston Celtics. We're not playing we're not playing Hoosiers.
Right.
It's the NBA.
But he surpassed my expectations. I thought the Hawks made a mistake when they drafted Trey. I ain't think Trey gonna do all that in the NBA.
Trey's a monster. Let him do his thing. All right, y'all. One more thing, just real quick. Make sure we'll be back next week. Episode 156 of This Is the G Podcast. Tanya B. Vi and myself will be back, and this is going to be the pre-election, pre-December 6th runoff show. Make sure you vote. Get out. You're listening to this before December 2nd. The last day for early voting is going to be December 2nd. And if you miss that early voting, make sure you go on December 6th and take care of your right to vote. Make sure you do that. Okay. Vi, my brother from another mother, man, thank you so much. If you got any extra pigtails, save me a few. Howard, I know you bought some chitlins from Mobile. So
Right.
put your chitlins aside, again, send me some chitlins. And also, Coach Art, thank you so much for being on this week, man. Appreciate you, bro.
No problem.
And
I do have one more thing to say before y'all leave.
What's that?
I have one more thing to say before we leave.
You gonna do the benediction? Just the benediction?
I can do the benediction. I have one more thing to say. Though.
All right, one more thing to say, and then do the benediction. All right,
Okay.
one more thing.
People, please do not vote for Herschel Walker. Please. I'm begging y'all, please do not vote for Herschel Walker.
Now, go ahead, man. Do your benediction. Here we go.
Many people spend all their energy seeking pleasure. Jesus said, however, that a world of pleasure centered on possession, positions, or power is ultimately worthless. Whatever you have on earth is only temporary. It cannot be exchanged for your soul. If you work hard at getting what you want, you might eventually have a pleasurable life, but in the end, you will find it hollow and empty. Are you willing to make the pursuit of God more important than the selfish pursuit of pleasure? Follow Jesus, and you'll be known what it means to live abundantly now and to have eternal life as well. Mark 8, verse 7. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and forfeit his life? For what will a man give in exchange for his life? In other words, people, you can't take it with you. So put God first. And if you put God first, he'll take care of you. Like I said, he's an envious God. Amen. Amen.
Appreciate you, Vi. Thank you so much. Again, Howard, Howie, thank you, bro. Have a safe ride home. And Coach, take care of yourself. Y'all, thank you. And let's do it. We out of here. Peace.
We out of here. Please don't vote for Herschel. Don't do it. Don't do it. If you're going to vote for Herschel, don't vote at all. That's all I got to tell you.
Oh, my Lord. Okay. All right. Peace.
Peace.